Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
So we're carrying out a research
All right.
on a topic that was given to us by our renowned teacher, Dr. Osinigwe, who is also a living legend, a composer of
Wow.
Nigerian art music.
Wow.
And we're here, sir, to get an interview from your perspective as a composer of art music.
Okay.
So our number one question is balancing notation and oral tradition. So, sir, how do you navigate the technical challenge of locking down the fluid, unwritten polyrhythm and speech tone of Nigerian languages into the rigid constraints of Western staff notation without stripping away their raw emotional ability?
Well, thank you very much. As a trained composer, we were trained in the Western way style of how to read and interpret music. And so this training has really helped a lot for us to be able to, you know, hear a tone or a sound and be able to interpret them, you know, for into what we call the sheet music, written form. There are other ways of writing and sound or writing tones. You can also use the tonic solfa notation. But ideally, the staff notation is the one that is more acceptable, even that can go beyond and people will be able to interpret them without being there. So it's because of the training we were able to, pick out the sound of the language, and that's why when we teach you, we say African music is it has tonality, the aspect of um, being able to pick out the language and speak it through your music. And it has to do with how you play with the words. Like I used to say in my class, different text, different language, have different way in which you speak the language to mean what it means. Because if you don't do that, you'll be saying something else, and then people will be interpreting it to be interpreted in another way. So the aspect of tonal inflection helps us to navigate. Like that song, one of the Onya Pananwaga Kanodo. You must first of all understand the import of that means Onya Pananwaga Kanodo. If it's spoken another way, it will mean another thing. And so with the music, you're going to pick the right note to fit in with the words in order to bring out the real meaning. So when it's being sung, people will understand that this is what this thing is saying is a folk tune that is based on an existing what was it called, the proverb. Onye akpana nwa ga-akọ n'ọdụ ma ọ dị ndụ ma ọ nwụrụ anwụ. So, and that's how we're able to, use the right tune, the right notes to, and it was the main theme of that song. So that's how we've been able to navigate with, trying to bring in the fluidity of reading in speech. Onye akpana nwa ga-aka n'ọdụ. That is the speech surrounding that news, and then you're able to interpret it using the rhythmic lesson from the Western notations we have. So it's not easy, especially if you don't understand any language. And that's why if I want to compose in any language, I do research on the speech rhythm, how that language is spoken for understanding's sake. So I don't know if I'm able to. So that is how we do it. So we capture the true meaning within the context of that language, and when it's being sung, people get the meaning also from the song, and not lose the meaning because of inability to use the right tune for the words or the text.
Thank you very much, sir, for that very explicit answer.
The number two question is talking about structure. Now,
yes, adapting from our more structure.
Yes, you adapt because form and structures make your composition to have what we call unity. It has that uniqueness of understanding it. It is not much of thorough compose, but you know, you also can adapt the common one called the ternary form. That team A, you go to team B, and then in that onya managa kana kanodo, such played out in that song where it started with onya managa kanodo, modindo, momunamu, onya managa onye, onye, onya, and then to into a place where you now have a solo piece that acted like a deviation from the theme, and then towards the end, it came back into that way. And so the form is adaptable into our kind of music. It helps to give it structure and purpose and meaning. You're starting with a theme like this, maybe a fast reading theme, fast-paced theme, and then in the middle there's a lot of more slower pace, a Dante kind of movement, and then so all those kind of it can be the form can be applied to the rhythmic movement of the song or to the melodic use of the song. So in any aspect, you find out that at least there's a kind of form that is the song is built around to give it its uniqueness. So that's exactly that what we do with when we compose using our own kind of music.
Thank you so very much, sir, for your time.
Thank you.
And for your very, very well explained answer. We appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much. All right.